What is up, my fellow Chibits, to the weekly Hunter x Hunter manga chapter review, this time on chapter 376. So, how's everybody doing? How's your night going? How's your day going if it's daytime where you live? Right now it's the middle of the night while I'm making this video. I know you guys are going to be seeing this video very, very late. It's going to be on a Tuesday. But anyways, though, how are you guys doing? How's your week been since the last time I made a Hunter x Hunter video? Let me know in the comments below. So as always, I want to be going through the manga chapter panel by panel and also analyzing it. And I'm also going to be reading the Viz Media translation. So if you're wondering why my translation is different, it's because once again, I'm using Viz Media. So with that being said, let us begin. So this chapter of Hunter x Hunter, it's pretty good chapter, actually. A lot of clarification of some abilities. We got some motives going on, and we get some good characterization. So to start off, the chapter, it continues off where, you know, Halkenburg, he was trying to confront his father and all that. The king, trying to see if his father would listen to him to end this whole succession war where, you know, the princes are trying to fight to whoever becomes king. Well, Halkenburg, he walks up, and he's basically told that, hey, man, you can't go in here. You cannot see the king. That's just how it is. That's the rules right now. The only time you can actually see the king is at the banquet, so you're gonna have to wait till the banquet until you want to see him. Until then, you're not allowed to see him. Nobody's allowed to see the king. None of the princes are, so sorry, you're out of luck. And basically, Halkenburg's like, look, okay, maybe I might not be able to see him, but I want to keep coming back every single day. I want to give you a letter. I want you to give it to him. And the dude's like, look, I recommend you to give this, you know, to your father at the banquet, because most likely it's not going to happen. Most likely your father might not even receive this letter in the first place. So he's basically saying your best bet is just to go talk to your father at the banquet. And he's like, I'm going to come back every day. And it just shows once again his determination of how far he will go, or how far he wants to go to stop his brothers and sisters from killing each other. So it's pretty much like concluding that little plot point, showcasing that he's reached a dead end. Kami and Benjamin in a courtroom. Now this courtroom, it's a very quick segment, but what this whole point of this courtroom is that Kami is, you know, charging Benjamin with certain things, and Benjamin is charging Kami with certain things, and overall, the way it turns out is because of both of them hold such political power, and they're just very high up in status, neither one can really get a definitive, you know, conviction, and so, basically, both of them, the first and second prince, has ended in a stalemate. Kami and Benjamin, they got nowhere. The only thing that's actually necessarily happened from these two actually confronting each other, trying to get rid of each other, is that now you're gonna have someone from, you know, the judge and all that actually ordered someone to follow them around. He's having escorts and all that to watch them, watch their rooms and all of that, basically make sure that nothing's going to go down, nothing shady's happening. So right now they've kind of limited themselves even more. The two princes have made it to now where there's other eyes watching them, so if they try to make any like sudden moves, then obviously that's going to be told to the courtroom, and then there will be a conviction. So I mean, it's a very simple scene, especially for Hunter x Hunter standards, but overall it kind of clarifies that, once again, the political power of these princes, it's going to be a lot harder to prove they're guilty, especially when they have just so much, you know, power. We also have Benjamin clarify that even though the court is over, nobody really got, like, a definitive answer, for instance, nobody got a conviction, Benjamin, since he does have that nin ability attached to Kami, he's still able to watch her at all times, see what she's doing, so no matter what she does, no matter what move she wants to make, he's always gaining information from her, so Benjamin has the advantage right now. Even though Kami got out of this, she's no longer imprisoned or whatever, the point is Benjamin kind of came out on top in this, because he now can watch Kami, see what move she's making. If she tries to attack him in any way, he knows. If, you know, he can gain evidence and stuff. So, Kami is in a very bad spot. She has a disadvantage right now. So, as we know, for a while now, for the past couple days, we've had it to where you have Kurapika trying to teach people Nin. And different bodyguards from each individual princes are assigned to come here and try to learn Nin, gain information to bring back to their faction. And it starts off in this segment to where once again, a couple bodyguards have ended up dead. Now, we already know kind of what's going on here. We know there's an assassin going on and, you know, taking people out and stuff, and the only time that this person can really do it because of the limited nature of the Nin ability is when you're alone, your guard is down, that's when it can necessarily strike you, and they notice that there's a couple of bodies and all of that inside the bathroom, and they're like, oh crap, you know, this looks bad on us. I mean, if they find out, or anybody else finds out, it's gonna make us look bad. So let me read this. So he's like, this is a situation where people might start to think we planned it. Everything that happened benefits us, especially considering how Muhan, however you pronounce his name, Muhan, argued with me on the first day. And so what Kurapika is trying to say is that if this continues on and all that, like, yeah, they're gonna just basically say, I'm the one causing it. Our faction is the one doing it, because every time someone dies, it benefits us. Anyone that disagrees with me, they die. And he's like, this just makes us look really, really bad right now, and there's just no way I can really defend myself because of what this assassin has been doing. But, the bodyguards, the other people that are learning Nin, they find out about this, and this is kind of what they say. That's it. You lured us here with the promise to teach us Nin. Your plan is to eliminate us one by one, which makes logical sense. You can't even refute that fact of what they're saying. He's like, I knew it was too good to be true. Everything was a lie. Hold on. What I've said about Nin is true, and this isn't our plan. If we continue, you'll keep eliminating us, and if we quit, these murders will get covered up. Call the Royal Army. It's obvious which side the judge will support. Now, Kurapika thinks inside of his mind, he's like, what they're saying sounds logical, and there's enough circumstantial evidence. Even with royal privilege, in the worst case, all of us could be separated, including the queen and prince. So what this means is that even though the princes and queens and all that, they have a lot of political power, which we saw from Benjamin and Kami in this chapter, it's not going to stop, the royal privilege is not going to stop this, or what's been happening, because with all these bodyguards ending up dead, it's just looking more and more shady, and there's just too much circumstantial evidence going against Kurapika and, the queen and all that, for, this to continue. So, if this was told to the judge, they brought all of this up and all that, that would mean that they would be convicted. And if a conviction isn't, doesn't happen, then that would necessarily mean that they would probably all be separated. The queen and the prince would be separated, and also the bodyguards would too, which would mean that they would be completely open for an attack or assassination. So, this is not good. Because of how this keeps happening, how people keep dying, it's making it to where, they're going to get separated from their guard duties, and then the prince is going to end up dead. So that's kind of the circumstance of this situation, how bad it is for Kurapika. But like I said, there's nothing you can really do about it, because, it just looks like that. So anyway, someone pitches in. It's the bodyguard that was sent in from last week's chapter from, Mariam's party, and Virgie sent him in. Well, he's like, hey, he raises his hand. Can I say something? So he tries to pitch in and kind of clarify what's going on. He's like, who pees while in hostile territory anyway? He's like, isn't that just stupid? Now, what this man says is so logical, it hurts. It hurts me internally just because of how logical this was, and I just didn't even think about it until he actually mentioned it. He's like, look. He's like, guys, we're all bodyguards here. We're all, as we know, in hostile territory. We know what's going on, okay? Yes, people are dying, and with people dying, we should be on our guard at all times. We should never be by ourselves. And he's basically saying, like, look, guys, I know you gotta use the bathroom. I know you have breaks and all that, but he's like, there are only a couple hours. These classes are only like 2 to 3 hours. There is just no way that you can't hold, yourself, hold back, having to pee until that's over, because, this is dangerous. Hostile territory, trying to use the bathroom and let your guard down in hostile territory is just asking to get killed. So he's like, come on now. Like, it's nobody's fault but the person going out of their way and separating themselves from the group. And if you want to complain about it, it's understandable. At the same time, don't drag everybody into this because you guys can't hold yourselves back from wanting to just go use the bathroom. So he's like, just do your job. Stop complaining and gather information. He's basically just saying what needs to be said. He's like, your guys' job here is to gather information on Nin, Kurapika, all the other bodyguards, all that, see what's going on here, relate it to your prince, and then carry on. That's what we're hired to do, that's what we want to do, and also, yes, you guys are trying to move up in political standing, get, better, and with your prince, but overall, though, we don't give a crap about it. Like, us, Hunter Association, you may not like us, you may think we're trying to do certain things to the kingdom, but we don't give a crap, okay? We don't care if you guys, kill each other. All we want to do is just do our job, and then get over to where we need to escort them, and then we carry on to our next job. So for now, you guys need to chill, do your job, stop complaining, stop doing things that you're not really supposed to do in hostile territory. So it's kind of like this man just speaking truth, okay? This man speaking facts to all of the bodyguards. He's like, just stop complaining. And I mean, you can't really argue against what the man said. I mean, honestly, even if you think this man is working with Kurapika and he's just saying random things just to defend the man, you cannot argue with the man's logic. I mean, he even says, like, if you guys continue and all that, you continue to try to cause problems, you want to quit, you know, if you guys want to call in the Royal Army, then we could call in the Royal Army on you as well, because you guys have been here, you most likely could be potential assassins, so don't even be trying to pull that crap, that shade on us, when you guys could be doing the exact same thing. So, I mean, the straight facts. Even if they suspect the man working with Kurapika, which he does want to work with Kurapika, as we see in the chapter, it doesn't change the fact that he spoke facts, and they can't say anything to refute what he said. So, good stuff. I like this portion of the chapter. It just shows that, once again, everybody that has died is technically their fault. They should have been paying attention, and then everything would have been fine. He's like, look, I did this for you, I have a favor. Can I borrow Bill for 10 minutes? He's like, I need Bill. So he's like, look, I know that Mariam and everybody, they're separated in a different, like, dimension, and so obviously I need a way to communicate with them that doesn't look necessarily shady. And as I know, you can't necessarily get back in the room. So he's like, yeah, I could probably find alternate methods. Maybe I could go to the Spirit Beast and do something, but I'm probably stuck out of the room, but I know for a fact they might be able to hear me and relay a message. So he's like, you know what, I want, you know, Bill next to me while I'm at the door talking, while I relay information to them. So it's a very smart idea. It makes it to where it doesn't look like this man is just talking to himself, like it looks very shady. It looks like he's having a casual conversation with another bodyguard. So it's a way to cover up information he's feeding over to Virgil and all of them. So, good stuff overall. We move over into the other prince. We move over into the girl. She puts up a front. She constantly puts up this persona to where she doesn't look like she cares. She knows she's probably going to end up dead very soon, and she's very blunt and rude. But at the same time, she is a very kind-hearted person, as we've seen time and time again. She cares deeply for her sister. She wants to save her sister from, you know, not getting killed and all that. And most likely the way this is going to go, it's probably that's not going to happen, because we've seen the caskets and stuff from the king that, you know, all the prince's bodies go in there. So just like, I highly doubt, you know, she's going to be able to save her sister unless they completely break the rules of, you know, the Secession War. But anyways, though, it seems like she's finally starting to warm up to, you know, her bodyguards, or at least one, and she's starting to relay a Morse code message, and she's trying to say, like, hey, you know, reply and say something like, say the word music if you understand what I'm saying. So she's testing the man's intelligence, but on top of that, testing and seeing if, you know, he also could actually work with her. I mean, I do believe that she understands that he actually cares about her deeply, but once again, she realizes that she has to keep up this persona of strong will and all that for people don't, you know, think she's weak-willed or whatever. So, I mean, she's having to use Morse code to be able to communicate, and which is very impressive. I just gotta say, a girl her age, I mean, yes, she may be a prince and all that, she may have, you know, probably had a lot of knowledge taught to her, but it's just still impressive to see how she's doing Morse code and then sneaking all this to her bodyguard. As, you know, she says, like, go to the kitchen cupboard bottom left, he finds these tools. It's allowing her to have a conversation with adults. And so it's like they're able to communicate without anyone overhearing them, so they can actually have a true conversation. Or in some ways, maybe she wants to use this with her sister. That's another possibility. Maybe this device is for her and her sister can communicate. Whatever it may be, though, it's obvious that she is not that bad of a person, and she is starting to warm up to him, so I like that. Now, we get some clarification to the coin that he has, you know, been, you know, seeing that's been popping out from his spirit beast. And we get some clarification from Benjamin's bodyguard. He says, effects of conjured objects can be classified into two groups. They either work the same as actual weapons and tools, or they have a supernatural effect unique to Nin. Since there is no coin of this design I could find, it won't be the former. I think it's a catalyst that activates a supernatural effect by fulfilling certain conditions. So since this coin doesn't, you know, represent any other known coin, then obviously this means that it is a supernatural item, a conjured item. Now, Togashi actually goes out of his way and clarifies what the Nim Beast is actually capable of. Third Beast, Zhang Lei's Guardian Spirit Beast, conjure compound type. Multiple abilities activated by multiple conditions. Someone who possesses the coin after fulfilling certain conditions will gain various abilities. He's like, so you have no idea how it works. So, this is a very interesting description, because Togashi gives us information, but he keeps us in the unknown with a lot. Let me read this once again. Conjured compound type, multiple abilities activate by multiple conditions. So, this This is interesting. So, the Spirit Beast has multiple abilities, depending on conditions that are met. And I'm assuming the coin is one of those conditions. Most likely picking up the coin. Now, also, this is what is stated. Someone who possesses the coin after fulfilling certain conditions will gain various abilities. Now, that right there is an interesting description. It's very vague, but at the same time, even though it's vague, it's scary, because if someone is holding this coin and they gain various abilities, what type of abilities is it? Because, once again, as we know, it comes with multiple conditions, the nin gets a lot stronger. And since, it has multiple abilities, multiple conditions, and the person will gain abilities, that means that the third prince could effectively make his soldiers have multiple abilities if they were able to learn the conditions of his spirit beast. So, it could be the equivalent of what Halkenburg did to his men. And you know how Halkenburg, his nin beast completely, attached a feather to them and activated their nin, and now they all are technically manipulated to where they can't be manipulated by others. They all have a lot of strength. Well, that's what Zhang can do as well. The third prince, he can actually give certain people, the abilities, multiple abilities. And since it wasn't clarified if it's people related to the third prince, so that would effectively mean that the third prince, depending on the restrictions he has, he might be able to make anyone have multiple abilities. Maybe they have to be loyal to him, but overall I believe that it's probably going to have something to do with greed. Remember that. You remember he was described to be very greedy, even though from what we've seen he doesn't seem to be greedy or whatever. But I mean, I feel like if you pick up a coin, that's one of the conditions. Carrying it around you is probably another condition. And most likely, depending on how you interact while holding on to that coin with others, maybe the third prince, that will activate more conditions, and then you might gain multiple abilities. But right now, though, the third prince's nin beast, his guardian spirit beast, is pretty scary, because it's so vague, but it seems like it could be potentially powerful depending on where Togashi wants to take it. We move over into the other prince, the little sister of the other prince, and she's trying to learn how the door works. As we saw a couple of chapters ago, she was able to activate a door, open it up, and travel to her sister's room, and then come out of the bed. And then she got, shoot away, and then the door closed, and she wasn't able to get back. And as I stated, most likely the only way this ability might work is because maybe both sides need to be thinking about each other, and then the passage opens up to that individual. For instance, she would need to be thinking about her sister, the sister would need to think about her, then the doorway opens up. But we see the doorway open up once again. Now, she managed to do this, and she does clarify that she wasn't able to do it yesterday again after the first time, and now she's able to do it again today. So this does mean that there's probably a limitation. Maybe she can only use this ability once per day, and she doesn't really know how it necessarily works. But it does show insight into her mind, how intelligent she is. Let me read this, okay, of what she's thinking in her mind and how she's realizing how nin is. For instance, she's really taking it to the next level, realizing that there could be conditions to this ability and that she needs to figure them out in any way possible. So she's like, I have to investigate. Is it really once a day? Does it turn over at midnight, or do I have to wait 24 hours? What she means by that is, if she was to say use it at 6 o'clock, okay, 6 p.m., would she be able to use it at midnight, 12 a.m., or would she have to wait until 6, p.m. once again the next day? Does it have a 24-hour cooldown, or is it just a daily cooldown? That's the big thing. And then she says, how far can I go? How many people can go through? Can the door appear in other places? That is another logical question. I mean, is she the only one that's able to enter this, or can anyone enter this? As long as the door's open before it's closed, could that mean she can, have multiple people go through the passageway? And she's like, can I change locations while I'm coming back? How long does the door stay there without being used? So she's like, okay, so if I was to, come back, can I change the, general location instead of it having to come back to this destination where I started at? That's what she starts to ask. Okay, can I change the starting point? And then she's also like, will the door stay there as long as I don't use it? Will it always be there until she decides to activate it, open it up, or will it disappear after a certain limited amount of time? She's like, I don't even know if I could come back through if I get out on the other side. What she's saying is if she was to go through the exit, if she was to officially go through the exit and close it behind her, would she be able to come back, or would the door disappear, and then she would be stuck there and she'd have to walk back, which would be very bad. If she would have, popped up out of the bed in the prince's room and all that, obviously that would have led to a lot of problems. So when you think about this, she's like, if I do go for the door, can I not come back? That's a thing. Then, can I turn back midway or change the destination while inside? So she's like, okay, so while I'm inside the tunnel and all that, and I have a destination I want to go to, can I, instead, before I open the door, can I just turn around and can I just go out again and just, you know, change the destination? Can she actually do something like that? She's like, I can't waste any tries. I have to think and do this efficiently. First, I'll check if I can re-enter from the exit and if I can change where the entrance is from the exit, just in case I can't get back. I'll have the exit room stay in this room. I want to go, she points at this next to the entrance. The door doesn't appear. It won't open. It doesn't look any different either. Is it one way from the entrance or does it appear after I open the entrance? Begin research. I'm going to save Katie with my magic. So this right here shows that she needs to understand how to open up the exit. She doesn't even know how the exit appears. Does it actually predeterminedly open the exit up when she enters? Or does it happen when she thinks she wants to go somewhere, the door or the exit pops up there? That's the big thing. Or is it the place she wants to be most, for instance, being with her sister? That's a big thing that, you know, you're wondering about when it comes to this part of the chapter, but I like how intelligent she is. She's a really intelligent character, and she surprises me. So anyways, we move over into the fourth prince, which is he's a pretty heinous individual, but at the same time, he's a very fascinating individual because we know he's been learning Nin, and at the same time, he is someone that is, as we've already seen, he's kind of skilled. He's very skilled when it comes to Nin, and I'm curious to see, or I was curious to see, how far he's come along since the last time we've seen him. Now, granted, this man's only been learning Nin for about, like, 24 hours or so. It hasn't really been that long. But anyways, we move over to the man, and we get an update status, kind of like how the bodyguard just came back from the Nin training. He's like, Muhan was killed, and he's like, yeah, Muhan was killed and all that. And he's like, someone assassinated him in the room and all that. Out of the 21 people, someone assassinated. And he's like, I do believe that Kurapika, the bodyguard, he is actually telling the truth, and he did not actually do it, because it seems like the Hunter Association wants to create a stalemate. So, it seems like this bodyguard is fairly intelligent. He realizes what Kurapika's trying to do, and he's like, there's just no way he would bring all this, you know, suspicion onto him willingly like this. So, he's like, it obviously just can't be that, man. So, he does believe in Kurapika's story. The fourth prince, he's like, I generally agree with your statement, what you're thinking. But he's like, but are you prepared to continue? And he's like, sir? He's like, some of them can manipulate people, right? What if the act of teaching is the condition to activate the ability to manipulate people? And this right here, that was some really good insight. That was some really scary insight from the fourth prince, because it's very true. There is conditions. As we know, conditions to everything. And maybe there's a condition like the person needs to teach you, and after a certain amount of teaching, then they're able to manipulate you in some way, activate their ability. So this right here, I have to say, pretty scary stuff. I gotta admit, that is some scary stuff that the fourth prince just now really learning Nin. He's only been learning it for about 24 hours now, was able to do something like that, or think of something like that. He has surpassed me in one of the most important skills in Nin combat. The depth and speed of expecting the unexpected. And we get some status update on what happened with the Nin Beast with her. This wound must be his guardian spirit beast's requirement. We see how she's got a scratch on her face. So this most likely, this is a requirement. The scratch might have something to do with if she lies to him or she's not truthful or whatever, maybe the Nin Beast will kill her. I feel something like that, because we know that the fourth prince doesn't like lying women. We've already seen this many times, so that most likely could be why the scratch is there. Anyways, he tells his bodyguard, if you continue, when you get back here on the last day, you'll need to bring something to prove your innocence, whether or not you've learned Nin. And he's like, I understand. I'll continue. So he's like, look, I know that it's good for you to continue doing this Nin training, but he's like, look, if you continue training with them, you're going to have to come back to prove that you're innocent. You got to prove that you're not the assassin. You got to prove that, you know, you've learned Nin. You got to prove to me. Or if you haven't learned Nin, you just got to prove to me what has really happened and whose side you're really on. So it just once again shows that this prince is very cold. He's very calculating. He doesn't take any chances, any risk, and even with any of his bodyguards. So Theta's like 11 more days, and I think I can teach him Zets. So everything is progressing very quickly, and she has 11 days to really teach him Zets. And he's like, look, you know, Theta, can I, learn the water thing? Like, can I do that to see what type of nin I have? And she's like, not yet. Cluttering your mind with unnecessary information can backfire, which is kind of true. She is telling facts, but at the same time, she's like, true, it's better to know early. Like, she says, it's better to know what nin type you are, and she is trying to slow down his progress, but at the same time, though, she's like, is speaking facts. Cluttering your mind is not the best thing to go about it. Anyways, like, come on, my knack for this is insane. Trust me, I'm much more obsessive than that. Let's go to the shortest route. So she's like, okay, fine. He's like, if I knew his type, I could form a plan. She's like, I made my objections, let's carry on with it. And so he has a cup, and it just starts bubbling. Like, bubbling a lot. And this is some scary stuff. It is clarified that the fourth prince is, in fact, a specialist. This explains why the man is able to learn nin so quickly. It explains a lot. But for him to be able to be a specialist, that means he knows all classes, categories of nin. This prince is definitely not going to be an easy one to take down. For him to be a specialist, this is proving to be a big challenge for Kurapika to eventually kill this man. Because now, this man, he's been confirmed to be a specialist. His nin is probably going to be insane with how quickly he's learning. So, yeah, he's dangerous. He's extremely, extremely dangerous. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I wonder how Theta is going to be able to get out of this. Is she going to die? I mean, does she have, like, a death counter on her cheek now because, you know, how she was scratched? We'll see where it's going to go. But, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.